Why hello there and welcome to my Guide 2 series where I'm talking about Dead by Daylight killers or other games than Dead by Daylight for you to get the general idea of those killers or games and get better at them and maybe even have a lot of fun while doing so. I am indeed 15 years old and I probably know about this game more than you ever will, so you can trust me on this one. But with that said, let's get right in. Today we are taking a look at the Trapper, the first ever killer to release in Dead by Daylight. He has a tall character model, a movement speed of 4.6, he has a normal tail radius of 32 meters and his power is fairly plain and simple. He has 8 bear traps in total, 2 of which he instantly carries with him from the beginning of the match. He can set up those bear traps, and if it catches a survivor, then that survivor can get injured, or if their trapper is nearby, the trapper can instantly pick them up without needing to down them. I'm gonna give you a general overview about his weaknesses and strengths. I'm gonna give you some tips and tricks, gonna tell you which maps are good, which maps are bad for the killer, gonna talk about his teachable and rank them, and I'm gonna tell you a proper build for him if you have most of the perks unlocked. I'm gonna give you my final thoughts about the killer and rate him. At the end, I'm gonna show you a game which you can use as an example to understand how the killer works. So, to his strengths. The trapper can easily shut down loops with his bear traps by placing them in front of pallets or in front of windows. He has decent add-ons, he's kinda annoying, I'm not gonna lie. His trap spawns are somewhat RNG based, which is good and bad, because if they're close to a certain area, then that's good. But if they aren't, if they're spread around, then that's not good, because you waste a lot of time picking all of them up. And he's very good at defending 3 gens or certain areas in general. The weaknesses though make him very hard to play since, as I said, the traps are somewhat RNG based, so if there's a trap on the other side of the map, you first need to get there, which will take forever because trap has 0 mobility. Short loops make mind games useless, which is a big shame since Trap is only an M1 killer in chases. This may seem controversial because I did say that he can shut down loops easily, but only because he can shut down loops with his traps does not mean that he can end chases automatically. Because shutting down a loop only limits the survivor, it doesn't end the chase. The setup time he needs for one trap will give survivors enough time to leave that loop if they want to, which, I mean, they obviously will. The trapper's setup time takes way too long for him to be a map-wide killer. He's very weak against teams who are using comms, or like survival friends in general, because they can just call out the trapped area and then survivors won't loop you at that area. Chasing someone outside of the trapped area is useless because that makes you powerless. You will take forever to catch a good survivor. Also, the survivor's base kit, aka the E-key, aka Dead Hard, is a hard counter against this whole power, which is a real shame because it's just one perk which at least 90% of all the survivors use, and it's just such a shame that his power gets countered so easily. But you can save yourself with one brown add-on, but you need to use that add-on, which is another problem. Spreading out traps as a trapper is a bad idea because, as I said, he's a territorial killer. He cannot control the whole map. And even if you catch a survivor there who's on the other side of your map, that's not going to help you very much because they can easily escape out of your trap while you make your way to them with 0 mobility, which I generally think is a waste of time. Now to the tips and tricks. The main thing I don't like if I go against trappers is just trappers being uncreative. They just trap pallets or windows, which is a good idea, don't get me wrong. It's not bad to just trap pallets or windows to completely block them. But if you want to step up the game, then try to be unpredictable. Try to hide the traps where survivors will not expect it, but which is mid-loop. It's hard, yes, it will take you a lot of time to find the right spots, but if you do get the right spots, you can get downs instead of just pallets, which is way better because a down is more valuable than pallets. Be wary though of the placement if you do decide to place them near a pallet, because placing a trap literally inside of the pallet is a horrible idea. I mean, not a horrible, but survivors can just throw pallets on top of it and then vault over your trap, and then your trap gets blocked and you cannot get it without breaking the pallet, and B, the survivor won't get trapped, which is equal to you not really using your power. And in a game like that by Daylight, you do want to try to get max value out of your power. And that's why I try to place it in front or behind the pallet so that survivors cannot just block it if they drop the pallet. Also, don't place it too close to the window, because if the survivor does a fast vote, he can sometimes just jump over the trap. But if you go through the window, then you will step in the trap. So a little bit of distancing between the window, that's always a good idea. Trapping corners is expected by survivors, yes. But sometimes that is way better than placing a trap in front of windows. Because survivors, if they see a trapper, the first thing most of the survivors will do is go to the killer shack, check the window, check the pallet, no traps, good. They will not check anything else most of the times. And if you have trapped the killer shack, especially the corners that connect the windows and the pallet, because if they check the window, it's trapped, bam, they just disarm the trap, that's it. You need to go back, reset the trap. But if you trap the corner and they did not check it because they were too lazy or they were confident that, okay, no trap at the window, no trap at the pallet means there are no traps around, and I can loop there easily, which is good for you because you can easily get value out of your trap. Awesome. Try to trap inside of tall grass because it is so hard to see your traps if they are in a tall grass. And the more survivors spend wasting time on disarming trap, the less gens they do, and the more pressure you can get. Blocking ways between objectives is also a good idea, because you can see where the gens are. So you can predict if the survivors complete that gen, then they can go through this area to get to that gen. But if you trap this area where you think the survivors will go through, then survivors may not expect it, and you can get a free injure, maybe even a hook if you stay near that area. The main thing you want to do is hope and pray to God, even if you're an atheist. Just pray that you won't get an indoor map as trapper. Yes, you can place traps around the corners, but holy shit, there is no cover for the traps. It will be so hard to trap survivors in an indoor map. Speaking of indoor maps, let's talk about weak maps. In general, all the indoor maps are bad. You can block loops, yes, that's true on every map, but you want to try to go a step above. You want to try to get the traps to make you more satisfied, I guess. And that's why indoor maps suck. You cannot hide your traps there. If you do get a trap or two, wow, you got lucky. But, I mean, you shouldn't complain about that. And in general, maps with almost no cover per trap, those are bad. The cornfields in the Cold Wind farm, they're not that bad. Sometimes it's obvious. With the right add-ons, it's hard to notice that. But maps with no cover are bad. Obviously, lots of tall grass, especially in loops, are wonderful maps for trapper, because you can just hide the trap. Survivors will have a very difficult time seeing that, and bam, that's your advantage. That's the exact thing you want. Small maps are also not bad for trapper, because then you can have a larger area or an area that covers a higher percentage than on a big map like the Macmillan Estate. That's the maps you want to get. Small maps with a lot of grass are good. And now we are at the interesting part, the teachables. Trapper, as every other killer and survivor, has 3 teachable perks: the unnerving presence, brutal strength, and agitation. So we will start with agitation. The basic explanation of agitation is you gain an increased movement speed while carrying a survivor, and your terror radius gets bigger. The movement speed you gain is 6%, and the terror radius gets increased by 12 meters. This is a nice perk that makes you waste less time carrying down survivor from point A to a hook at point B. It has decent perk combos, for example Mad Crit, or a more available perk that's called Iron Grasp. The few seconds can be crucial with something like Scourge Shock Pain Resonance, because if you take just, for example, a gen that is 95% and you just downed a survivor, you pick them up, the gen's at like 97% if one survivor is repairing it, and then you get the increased movement speed. And if the gen hits 99% without agitation, there is a way higher chance that gen gets done, unlike with agitation, which makes you hook the survivor faster because you get to the hook faster. I like that perk, it's not bad, it's not getting used that often, but I still gave it a rating 3 out of 5. Next is Unnerving Presence. The basic explanation is skill checks get significantly smaller for survivors who are repairing a generator or healing a survivor while in your terror radius. The penalty is 10%, a 40% success zone reduction, and a 10% higher chance for triggering skill checks while inside of your terror radius. This perk, I mean, yeah, the skill check penalty is huge, and it probably works very well on new players, which is why it is somewhat a good informational perk and kind of slowdown perk, because skill checks, missed skill checks do tend to give you a regression on the gen. I don't remember how much, I think it was like 5. It does have some good synergies, for example, Hunter's Lullaby, but in general it's not that great, I'd say. It's so rarely seen, and that's for a reason. That's why it's only a 1 out of 5. Brutal Strength, another perk that makes long actions take way less time. So, Brutal Strength, basic explanation. All the breaking actions are shortened by 10%. It's neat. Not much, but you can sometimes feel the difference. It's generally not a bad time savior. It has some fun synergies, for example, one of my favorite, the I don't give a F about palettes build, which consists of Spirit Fury, Enduring, Brutal Strength, but some add-ons or powers tend to be way better than the perk itself. For example, the Iridescent Legion pin or Legion, that's so much better than Brutal Strength, or the chainsaws from Hillbilly or the Cannibal, they also are way better than Brutal Strength. That's why it's not that bad. It does save time, but I feel like it saves not enough time. That's why it's only a 2 out of 5. For a build, I have Corrupt Intervention to give you time to set up a certain territory, which will be your 3 gen. 1 or 2 automatic gen regression perks, for example, like Surge or nowadays Jolt, because Trapper is an M1 killer. You cannot, well, you can get different downs with your traps, but most of the time you will get downs by hitting an M1, a basic attack, and that will activate Surge, which will make all gens instantly regress by, I believe, 17%. Then we have Pain Resonance, Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, which is a good perk combined with Agitation. If you hook a survivor on certain perks, the gen will explode. Awesome. Ruin, which automatically makes gens regress if survivors stop working on them, and the regression speed is faster by 200% on tier 3. I would not really recommend taking something like Call of Brine or Pop Goes the Weasel. You can combine it with Brutal Strength, but it will be a good idea if you just don't waste any time breaking pallets, but instead take perks that do it for you so that you can concentrate on chases. Also, one informational perk is good, like Barbecue and Chili or Scourge Hook Floods of Rage, to see which gens out of your 3 gen are getting done. Floods of Rage does activate a bit later than Barbecue, which can be a bit crucial, but I don't think it's a big deal because it still helps out greatly. But still, I would recommend Barbecue because it's information plus it's blood points, so Barbecue is generally the better informational perk. But if only one auto gen regression perk was chosen, then I would recommend a slowdown perk like Sloppy Butcher, because you always hit M1 attacks, the healing speed of survivors will be always reduced that way. Or something like Tentaphobia to help you control the tree gen easier and make chases less punishing. And now to my final thoughts. So the killer is a weak killer, I'm not gonna lie, I do not like playing him. He has a lot of counterplays. He's heavily map dependent, and his whole power, an entire power, is easily countered by just one famous perk. And by famous, I mean a perk that is used a lot. I would argue that the makeshift wrap add-on for the trapper should be his base kit, kinda, because that will just make it fair. It won't make one perk counter a whole power, and that will feel a bit better, in my opinion, though. His setup time takes way too many gens away. Like, once I finish setting up all my traps, at least 2 gens are gone usually. That's annoying. Also, you need to place your traps well. If you place them in front or behind a pallet, not being careful enough, like leaving a tiny gap, survivors can still just fit through it. That's annoying. Yes, if it's big enough, then the killer can fit through as well, but that just defeats the whole purpose of the trap. Why did you place it there in the first place? Maybe a little bit of higher hitbox on the traps, but I don't know, maybe that'll be OP. I don't know, you can fix that. But the good point is, if you have a good enough 3-gen and a good setup, Trapper is one of the best killers to hold a 3-gen, I'd say. And if you do get some traps, it feels pretty good. He can cancel out strong loops mid-chase, for example, Killer Shack. He can nullify Killer Shack instantly. Well, not instantly, but in like 2 seconds. It won't bother the chase that much because the survivor can just leave and go to another loop, but Killer Shack is an annoying place to be looped at, so it's good that you can just shut it down. He is controlling only an area instead of the whole map, which can be somewhat good, somewhat bad, because you're good at controlling an area. As I said like 100 times, I think, this video. 3-gens, easy to defend. But, you know, at the same time, you lose the gens, and if you get a bad 3-gen or the servers are smart and don't leave you with a 3-gen, you have so little things to do. So my rating, sorry for Trapper, but it's a 2 out of 10. I do not like this killer, but he is kinda weak because he's one of the first killers. And now to the fun part, the gameplay. I'm gonna use the 3 teachables with no other teachables, so I can only use the 3 teachables from Trapper, but I can use non-teachable perks like Iron Grasp, Distressing, and so on. But with that said, I hope you have enjoyed to this point, and let's watch the last part. Hey! It's almost the map I used for my examples in the video. This map is honestly great. A lot of grass. Which 3-gen? Which 3-gen? Oh god. These gens are not good. Yeah, I'm just gonna stay with these. Oh man. I don't know, honestly. I don't think there's a 3-gen possible in this game, so I'm just gonna put some casual traps down somewhere. I guess this one at the boat, that one, and maybe this or this one. Oh, hey there. Okay, so for my add-ons, I have the makeshift trap, because fuck that hard. And the... oh god, I do not like this window. Can I make it? Nope. Can try to get a hit. And the trapper bag, because I like to carry more traps. Just gonna put one down right here. Won't really expect that, I think. These guys are doing this gen. I'm gonna put a trap here in just a second when they leave. They left, that's good. I'm gonna put the trap down right here. This is sound of trap, not good. But it's fine. Fine. So for the non-teachable perk, I have the stressing, because I hate unerring presence, but I want to make it stronger. But I get some value, hopefully. Let's sound this one already. Okay. Which one? That one. Dude, these guys are fast. Wow. I don't think I'm gonna have a good time against these guys. I put a trap down right here. Hopefully I didn't misplace it. No one's here? Okay. Gonna put a casual one right here. Maybe people love vaulting this window, so I'm gonna put a trap right here. And I'm out of traps. Oh god. Yeah, this guy is my ticket to victory. We're just gonna step on my trap. No. Don't think it's that hard. Yeah, these guys know about all of my traps. Oh, that's good though. I'm gonna put him in the basement. I'm gonna put one down right here. They'll just go for the safe and they won't look, I think. I think they're gonna just go through the pallet. Unless I block it. Reset this trap. They've done that, yeah, that's not a problem. Working on this one, I'm gonna leave. I want to protect this gen. No one's here, nice. What? Do you need that? Yeah, but he what? What is this guy doing? Do you have DS? What? I am so confused. But there is someone here. Yep, they do have her down. She shouldn't be able to pick her up. Oh, and she wasted a lot of time disarming the trap. That's great. Get a hit on you. Oh, I know where the last one is. I'm gonna fake this because I know that someone's behind me. Actually, no, in front of me. What? I'm just gonna put this one down. Can't really do shit now. Like, this trap's gonna block her. Okay, I'm just gonna reset it. Sure, if you'll allow me. Oh, this is good. You know, I'm just gonna chase you. And nah. That would have been too good. Put some casual traps down somewhere. Okay, here you go. A good trapper game, GG. Okay, but this is good. This is what I'm talking about. You see? That trap right there. If I didn't have it there, LED could have just gone for the save. But because she didn't want to get trapped, she should have disarmed it first, and that bought me a lot of time. Then another one right here, because they went from the inside. They were not expecting a trap there, they just jumped into it. Also gave me down. I have to find the last survivor. But in general, not a bad game. Okay, this is lucky. Does she have adrenaline? No adrenaline either, okay. Well, this is a GG's. Gonna reset my trap here. Okay. Huh? What the fuck? I can't pick it up! Oh my god! Okay.